All right. Hey, Tom. Welcome to the Cryptocosm. How's it going over there?
Great, Marcus. Thank you for having me on. I'm here in Denver with the Kickcaster team. I'm in our own podcast studio right now. That's why I got some nice gold streams behind me. We always like to take our calls in this studio, so happy to be on the show. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I was about to say I wasn't sure whether you're in a restaurant or but it looks pretty sweet. I love it.
Yeah, we have our we take our podcasts here, and we got some microphones and stuff, but we just gotta make sure that we got the right vibe for any recordings that our team goes on. So yeah.
All right. Okay. Yeah. But anyways, I wanted to actually talk about a lot of things. The reason I connected with you was I know you're in Denver, but I also kind of found out there's a lot of interesting stuff is happening. I don't get to hear much about what's happening in Denver other than Shapeshift. I know they're kind of like the I guess one of the big boys or the in the blockchain crypto space. But before we get talk about Denver and blockchain, I would love to learn a little bit about you, how you got into crypto and blockchain, so to speak. So take it away.
Sure. I started off just trading cryptocurrency, day trading, buying some Bitcoin here and there back in 2016, 2017, before Bitcoin was even around maybe like $800, $900 was when I first got into it. So I wish I still had all the Bitcoin I had back then, but I don't. That would have been nice. But yeah, I started off just doing some day trades and things like that. And then a business partner of mine, Parker, and we started coming up with some ideas that we thought might be good. Um, One, to increase adoption of the space, and two, to just provide a great service to people as a whole. So that's when I started in with my first blockchain startup, which was called Fraps Advertising. That project is one that we've kind of moved aside right now to focus on a bigger project that we're working on called Secure Digital Asset Group, which is a cold wallet provider and storage solution, custody solution for cryptocurrency investors. Um, it's a solution that is um, white labelable, commissionable, and distributable through the traditional broker dealer networks. So
Oh,
it allows people to offer cryptocurrency to their clients in a cold wallet solution that is safe and secure and easy for people to use. So that's what I'm working on right now. It's more of a fiat gateway type service rather than a cryptocurrency exchange, if you are familiar with the difference.
okay.
Um, Meaning our platform only offers fiat to crypto trading pairs. We don't do any crypto to crypto trading. For example,
Gotcha.
no Bitcoin to ETH trading, just simply Bitcoin to US dollar or euro, whatever you need to use, or Ethereum to US dollar, euro, those types of things. So we're more of a gateway from people to get from fiat into crypto than for people
Gotcha.
to join and trade crypto on, if that makes sense for you.
Okay. But do you also have like off-ramp functionality? Like if someone wants to dollarize their profits, I guess, so to speak, like.
Yeah, absolutely. You can sell from crypto back to fiat. If you think about a Coinbase type platform, which I don't know what is available over there in Dubai, but in the US, Coinbase has just straight USD into crypto functionality. You can't actually trade crypto to crypto on Coinbase, but they do have the Coinbase Pro platform where you can trade crypto to crypto and do a lot more trading pairs.
Yeah.
We try to make our system so simple and easy, to the point where we don't want to confuse people with all of those types of trading pairs. So we simply just go from US dollar or other fiat currencies into crypto and back. And that's what we're doing right now.
Okay, okay, that's pretty cool. Okay, that's nice. Yeah, I mean, we over here we do have here in Dubai, I guess in the Middle East. I mean, we do have access to Coinbase, but as far as off ramping, like from crypto to say US dollar or any of the major currencies. I don't know if that's available yet, but Binance is pretty strong over here. They have a big presence, and but we do have some local ones coming up too. So, but I guess in the Middle East, you're going to see a lot of companies from the States and also overseas. They all are coming to Dubai, and because it's kind of like a gateway to Europe as well as Africa too. So there's a lot of, I guess, a lot of economic opportunities. But could you also share your relationship with Kickcaster?
Sure, definitely. Kickcaster is a company that I'm working for right now as a director of product. I come up with new ideas for them, test them, build them out, and basically just create products all around the podcasting space. So actually the PGL platform that you use to send
Yeah.
invites to me and a couple of other guests for your show is a product that I manage on behalf of Kickcaster, and yeah, it's like my full-time job right now. Obviously, I have my own startup companies as well on top of that, but
Right.
Kickcaster has been great and it's been huge for the world of podcasting and making great guest connections. So yeah, I all wrapped up. I develop products for Kickcaster and test them out and come up with new ideas. So I'm working on a couple different things, including that podcast guest list that you already utilized.
Yeah. No, it's pretty cool. Definitely did get to meet some interest. I got some interesting guests. John Wingate. I mean, his bank social
Yeah,
is pretty interesting as well. So, and
sure.
and it's growing too. So they're making some big change.
Mhm.
Big improvements, big changes. So, because I actually wanted to ask you about podcasting is such a great way to like educate people, also share your passions and stuff. But I was just kind of curious to know about what's your future point of view, like podcasting for the crypto and the blockchain space. Do you see is there a big gap, or is there a lot of opportunities in educating people using podcasting?
Yeah, you just hit the nail on the head right there. I think that the most important aspect of podcasting in the crypto and blockchain space is going to be that essential education that people need. There's going to be such a big shift from, the world of fiat and traditional currencies into a more digitally, a more digitally powered system. And I think podcasting, just the way that information is shared and the way that you can hear directly from thought leaders in a specific space is going to be huge in facilitating that shift. People need to know what they're doing before they are going to go ahead and be comfortable enough to do it, and I think podcasting is going to be a place where a lot of that education is made.
Yeah. Yeah, I was also want to ask you about like other than like educating the Joes and Janes all around the world, but also
Yeah.
but I also do see. I don't know if you agree with me. Like I also see in podcasting kind of like changes the way investors, whether institutional, instead of going through a bunch of notes or these 400 pages of company formation documents or white papers.
Yeah.
Do you think podcasting can kind of change the way investors look into companies or like learn about learn about CEOs?
Oh,
Get it?
absolutely, without doubt. And we've already seen it happen. So Kickcaster, the core offering here at Kickcaster is a podcasting campaign. So we take entrepreneurs, business owners, funded founders, and we place them on shows that align with the industries that they're looking to target. And we have people in blockchain, we have people in AI, other tech fields. We've actually heard of our clients directly receiving funding or really big number deals purely based off of a podcast that they've been placed on. So it's absolutely possible, and it's actually already happening without a doubt.
Wow, is it
Yeah.
possible to give maybe like say one or maybe two examples? I mean, if it's on public record, I guess.
Yeah, I won't speak on any sort of funding or any like funding rounds or any sort of specifics, but I can tell you a specific client of ours was working on an AI chatbot system, and
All right.
they were able to secure a, multi-million dollar deal strictly based off of a podcast that we had placed them on. And they were a client of ours who was already finished with their campaign and they had stopped and they weren't really recording any episodes anymore. And then they came back to us, months later and they said, hey, we got to get going again right away because we just signed the biggest deal of our year based off of a show you guys placed us on like 4 months ago. So they
Wow.
signed a
Okay.
deal. They signed a deal with a really like gigantic video game company who was looking to get an AI chatbot for their system, and the
Wow.
CEO or whoever it was over at that company heard our client on a podcast and said, "Hey, this is exactly what we need. We got to get in touch with these guys." So they got in touch and signed a multi-million dollar deal, just strictly based off of a podcast.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I mean, the reason I bring that up is I don't think a lot of people do realize how powerful or how innovative podcasting can be. Like they think of Joe Rogan, and all, those big, shows and stuff. But in terms of, I guess from an entrepreneurial level, it is possible. So I guess if you have the right, I'm sure there's some strategies involved, but through podcasting, you can uh, really, I guess, hit some big numbers and big deals.
Yeah, definitely. Just the sheer amount of exposure and branding that you get based off of podcast interviews is really important, especially for your newer, younger startup companies. Like, we would encourage any startups who, have maybe somewhat of a budget and can afford something like this. We would never encourage somebody to use their entire budget on a podcasting campaign. But a company that could afford to do it, maybe we think it's a great way to get exposure and to raise funds because there's even shows out there. We have a whole collection of shows that are focused strictly on, pitching, entrepreneurship, and fundraising to the point where, actual real venture capitalists and angel investors listen to these shows just looking for new companies to invest in. So if you're looking to raise a round or do something, podcasting is a great way to, one, get some practice on your pitch. You have a conversation with a great host who's educated on the space that you're looking to talk about, because we obviously, if we have a crypto or blockchain guest, we're going to place them on crypto blockchain shows. And there's a
Right.
host like you who knows what they're talking about, right? Like sometimes you have entrepreneurs, and same thing has happened to me where I'm trying to raise money for a blockchain company and I walk into an investor's office in New York City and give them a great elaborate pitch on our blockchain project, and they're like,
Yeah.
well, we don't really know what blockchain is. And it's like, why are you trying to invest in it then? It's happened to me, it's happened multiple times,
Wow.
and we think that getting exposure and just the straight up practice talking to somebody who knows what they're talking about is really great for these startups and entrepreneurs who are looking to raise rounds.
Okay, no, I like that. No, because I think I was about to ask you like kind of like a scenario, like say for example, a crypto startup here in Dubai. They're trying to they come to Dubai to attract investors and all. So you pretty much kind of answered
Yeah,
those questions quite a bit. But
yeah,
but I
for
like
sure.
the last part of what you just said about you came up with your own pitch deck. Like presented to some investors, but have no idea.
Yeah,
Uh, I guess maybe a couple of years ago, if you try to present cryptocurrencies or the blockchain to some investors, I heard stories that people were laughed at by those investors from
oh
Silicon
yeah,
Valley.
for sure.
So okay, I guess is that true? It's not like a myth or anything like that. Like,
Yeah, I'll tell you a real story about a pitch that me and my company were in. I think it must have been at this point maybe about somewhere around 2 to 3 years ago. We were pitching our cold wallet solution with Secure Digital Asset Group, our Bitbond solution, which I could tell you more about later if you'd like. But we're
Sure, sure,
pitching
yeah.
into we're pitching into a hedge fund manager who had just successfully raised $50 million to invest into blockchain and cryptocurrency. So this is a hedge fund manager. He's managing other people's money to invest in this space. And
Wow.
we nail our pitch. We think, we did a great job. And at the end of the meeting, this hedge fund manager says to us, he says, hey, this all sounds really great, but I really don't know too much about cryptocurrency and blockchain. So if you go and get some money from the West Coast and Silicon Valley, I'll match it or I'll invest in you. It's like, I won't invest in you until somebody else does because he didn't know anything about cryptocurrency and blockchain, although he
Okay.
just raised a $50 million fund to invest in cryptocurrency and blockchain. So it's very real,
Wow. Okay.
yeah, yeah, I swear
Uh,
it really did
Thank you for
happen.
sharing that. No, thank you for sharing that because I have heard those stories, but it kind of blew my mind. But I'm saying, but okay, so that's the past. But let's talk about the now. What is
Sure.
the investor, the hedge fund sentiment right now? Like, are they crazy about cryptocurrencies, or are they still kind of apprehensive? Or
People are really excited, and we pitch on a weekly basis. We're talking to new people, because it's a constant struggle to try to get your project funded until it does get funded, and then you do what you have to do. So we're still fundraising, and a lot of people are a lot more excited now about crypto and blockchain, Bitcoin, and all that because they've been hearing about it for 5 to 10 years now, and they're starting to actually realize, okay, this isn't going away. This isn't a joke. Um, and a lot of them are really interested in trying to find a good product to invest in. But I still think there's a big lapse in education for a lot of those investors, big hedge fund managers, institutional money who aren't educated enough to make the decisions on their own. So you'll typically see them having younger or more tech savvy, more educated advisors on their teams who are trying to help them, but it's still kind of hard to explain, a complex like blockchain system to somebody who's not very tech savvy, if that makes sense to you.
right? Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's still an issue. And of course there are those funds out there and those extremely knowledgeable investors who know exactly what you're talking about. You'll I've had discussions with investors who are smarter than me and my team. Like they know more
Yeah.
about know more about the type of blockchain system that we're trying to build than we do. And we're just like, oh my God, this is this
All
is
right.
great. And those are the great connections to have. Because
Okay.
just to be clear, I'm not a developer. I don't code, and my direct partner Parker in this business, he doesn't code either. So we have a CTO who's working with us. So sometimes
Okay.
we'll meet with an investor who obviously doesn't know more than our CTO about our system, but knows more than us, and we're like, oh my God, how did you know that? So
Yeah.
there's two ends of the spectrum. You have people who really don't know anything about blockchain, and then you have people who really do know a lot, and they're doing the right things.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm sure because I'm sure yeah, I've been to a couple of conferences. I've been to some quite a lot here in Dubai. A lot of people coming in. But one thing I noticed in the crowd, I'm sure your people also have seen it too. Like I've seen young guys like ourselves. They come in hoodies and they look like hipsters and all. But then you got guys
Yeah,
from HSBC and American Express and all suits and stuff. To me, it's like the craziest kind of situation. But I love it. It's
yeah,
not
for
so,
sure.
I guess, traditional or kind of um, very formal, but to me, I see so much of vibrance, so much of energy and excitement, and it's also kind of interesting to see the top executives. They make big bucks, but they're kind of humbled. Seeing
Sure.
these young bucks. Just okay. They may have like $200 in their bank account, but they got like 2,500 ETH, in their wallet. So
Yeah.
it's a whole other level. So maybe I'm sure. Have you seen that before? Or
Oh, without a doubt. And the thing is too, like those guys who are wearing hoodies in the back of the conference room, those are the guys that those big executives are paying six figures to debug their systems and to build their next big thing. Like those are your unicorns. Like if you've seen the show Silicon Valley, like those are the types of people who are building these things. And
Mhm.
although they might not get the same amount of exposure as like the big executive or the visionary, they're essential. And that's the person who's going to go and just code up the next big platform as a side project and make hundreds of millions of dollars, but we see it all the time. Half of the clients that we have here who are funded, successful founders started off as like a ground level coder at Google or Facebook, something like that. And then they just
Gotcha.
figure out in that position, they find a need, they find a product, a new way that something should be done, and then they break off and build it themselves because they have so much knowledge and experience, and then they get funded and they make a ton of money. So,
Yeah,
yeah, you should
yeah,
never overlook those types of people, without a doubt.
yeah. I'm not glad you said that. Yeah, and I
Yeah,
think even some of the younger guys who I know, like, I mean, they're not coders and things like that, but they are inspired, just seeing like the level of success but also the new opportunities too. So I like to bring up the point where you talked about, you're not a coder and stuff, but you have other skill sets and you are in the
yeah,
crypto blockchain space. So some of the questions, like some of my people here in Dubai and India, they ask like, hey, I like what's happening in the crypto blockchain space, but look, I have no idea about coding and stuff or software. But
yeah.
is there opportunity in terms of career or maybe entrepreneurship too? But I guess mostly in the career setting, where
Sure.
what advice would you give to someone who's trying to get into that space? You know?
For someone who's not like a coder or a developer, you
Yeah.
mean?
Right. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like without a doubt, there's such a huge need for other skill sets, right? Because you can't just have somebody who's coding something and doesn't know how to market it or get it out in front of people, or doesn't know how to pitch it in a meeting. Because a lot of times you find a rock star developer who can make something work. They can do whatever you want them to do, but they're not, maybe sometimes they might not be the person who can go up in front of an investor and explain it, pitch it, make it look good, and get that money that you need. Or they might not be the same person who's going to go and make a sale to a big company for your service. So there's so much need for all different types of career personalities, different types of people coming into blockchain that if you think that only coders can get into it, it's just not true. Like I I've developed, I've worked on 3 to 4 blockchain startup companies myself from like the ground up, and I've never coded a day in my life. So um, I do a lot of like wireframing, web design, pitching, gathering materials for pitches, whether it's financials or uh, again like pitch decks or white papers, one sheets. I do all of that type of stuff, and then I work
Right.
very closely with the technical people, our CTOs and our developers to get the stuff built. And we sit down with them for hours on end to figure out what we think is possible, what we can do with our platforms, and we take what they say, you know, with praise because they know their systems and they know how to build it, and we're always going to listen to them. So again, the coders are massively important. Obviously, you're always going to need someone to build your system, but I think all of the other things as well are equally as important to have on a team.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Glad to hear that. Yeah. No, because I get some of these questions quite a lot actually. So
Yeah.
other than, Bitcoin is hitting, 50K and I'm missing out. But in terms of the industry, I mean, I, I'm sure you might agree, it's getting hot right now, in the sense,
Yeah.
even when the market is down too, but still, there's a lot of interesting developments taking place.
Hmm.
And, I mean, I just see a lot of opportunities. Like, I'm not a coding guy. I'm more like a marketing sales kind of guy. So,
Same here. Yeah.
I can talk a lot and stuff, but, and but it's good to hear from you that, you already built some stuff up and, you work with developers. So I think it's a matter
Yeah.
of having certain skill sets and collaborating with other people. I think collaboration is kind of like the buzzword when it comes to cryptos and blockchain, right?
Exactly. You can have a rock star coder, like I said before, who knows his system in and out, but might have a hard time explaining it to somebody who doesn't code or doesn't know tech as well. And somebody like me, I kind of consider myself a technical translator. Like I take what the coding person is saying and I dumb
Right.
it down or translate it for people who don't really know what they're talking about at all. And I've only
Hmm.
developed that skill just by being around developers and coders so much in my work. Like I started off sitting at the table or on the Zoom call, not knowing what they're talking about either. But after years and years of hearing the same terms and trying to figure out what they're talking about, I've kind of developed this little skill where I can take what they say and translate it for somebody who was in the same position I was in a couple of years ago. And
Great to
it's
hear
huge.
that.
It's very important to have.
Yeah.
And companies look for people like that, and big tech companies need those things. So it's never, if you're not a coder, there's still so much room for you in the crypto and blockchain space. It's huge.
All right. No, I'm glad to hear that. Really glad to hear that. And definitely want this particular message, what you said right now, to be out there. Uh, because I don't want people to have um, this mentality of lack. I want them to know, hey, there's abundance out there. There's so much of growth, so much opportunities, and it's just you just have to learn how to be adaptable and be open minded. And also try to get out of the. I guess what I see it with some of my friends and some of the people, they're stuck in the traditional educational space. In here you gotta like really think outside the box and I know because I've been in the States, I also here too. So there's this, I know there's a learning curve, like I think which you just explained earlier. So, but I think once you take a little bit of time, uh, man, things are possible. So, I mean, already I'm trying to make some connections, trying to like learn from other people, and I'm just blown away what's happening in Dubai. Also seeing what's happening in Texas too. But definitely I want to talk more about Denver. But before that, I wanted to talk to you about what's with NFTs and also the DeFi space. So I would love to hear your point of view with regards to NFT and then DeFi.
Sure. Yeah, so I actually just bought my first NFTs in the last couple of weeks, actually. So
All
I
right.
just got
Okay.
into it. Yeah, I obviously have known about NFTs for a while, but I never felt the need to really purchase any. But recently with the Solana network, if you're familiar with that,
Yeah. Yeah. True.
Solana,
True.
um, Sol, SOL. I really like, how they're handling their NFT purchases and the drops specifically. So they'll generate like it's different for each drop, obviously, but a specific drop will generate a certain number of NFTs, and they have different rarities. And you can mint one when the drop happens, and you get a completely random one. You can either get a normal one or a not so rare one or a super rare one. And if you get a super rare one, you have the potential to make a lot of money, which is
True. True.
awesome. It's almost kind of a gamble, but a
Yeah.
lot of times you see the floor price of these NFTs. going up above the mint price. So even if you don't get a super rare one, you might have an opportunity to make some money still. Um, but you obviously goes hand in hand. You could also the mint price could be higher than the floor price on the aftermarket, so you can lose money. It's not a surefire way, but it's fun and I enjoy, the novelty behind NFTs, getting a one of one piece of art that is uniquely yours and you own it. I think it's great, and I think the future of NFTs really is going to go into more more individualistic digital art where somebody's making, a piece that's as unique as any painting would be, a one of one. And that's already happening as well, but not to mention the other aspects of an NFT, like for example, in the music industry where an artist can own, the rights to their music through an NFT and sell or distribute ownership in their property that way. I think that's also going to be huge in the terms of legal rights to entertainment and things like that. Because I think right now the music industry is kind of struggling a little bit with the terms of artists not owning their originals and things like that. You just saw the whole thing with Taylor Swift. I
Yeah.
don't know if you're familiar with what happened there, but if any listeners want to go and look that up, it was a big, it was a big struggle for her, and it was a big legal battle that can be solved in this way. So I think there's a lot of potential for NFTs in the future and
Hmm.
digitized assets as a whole. Um, so yeah, I'm excited to see where it's going to go. Yeah,
That's cool. Yeah, yeah. I know. I can see like incredible opportunities for like for musicians or artists to get royalties as well. Like
yeah,
uh, that I think that there's a great opportunity in there. Now, with regards to decentralized finance, you know, uh, because I know right now NFT is like super hot. It's a really sexy topic. Here in Dubai, like we have all these artists coming in, so they're putting NFT on cars as a way to increase their value, that kind of deal. But
yeah.
but I do personally for me, I do believe like DeFi. I think in the long run, it's going to amplify. Like it's going to be really huge in terms of, I guess, financial inclusion, or I know whatever term you can call it, financial inclusion, financial confidence, or I like to dare to say financial ascension for people, in terms of
Yeah,
increasing their wealth. And especially in this region, in the Middle East, we have uh, families, who are growing their wealth, and especially the term intergenerational family wealth. So that's kind of a big deal for like Indian families, Arabian families, and African families. So uh, I guess I'd like to hear like your point of view when it comes to DeFi. I guess in the American context or in the American markets, uh, what is your take on that?
sure. I think that DeFi is going to be here to stay. I think a lot of governments are going to want to fight against it, but there's really nothing that they're going to be able to do because I think it is a much more well-rounded and useful financial model to have, no centralized entity controlling the supply of money or controlling the money's price, the value of it. I think it's going to be huge, and it is going to provide a lot of banking and financial opportunity to those underserved markets in places in Africa, for example. There's actually a company, some friends that I have through my startup experience. They're working on Yellow Card Financial over in Africa, and it's they just raised their Series A, and they're working to provide financial inclusion for the underserved banking markets in Africa by allowing
Right.
them to purchase cryptocurrencies using cash and in easy ways at their local grocery store. So it's and while that's Yellow Card Financial isn't necessarily like a DeFi blockchain, they're working with decentralized blockchains to allow these people to invest in cryptocurrencies that are decentralized. So I think it's huge, and I think they're doing such a great job. They just raised their Series A, and they're growing astronomically over there in Africa. So you should definitely check that out. I'm not sure
Okay.
if they're in the UAE yet, but they are out there. And yeah, I
Yeah.
think DeFi is here to stay, and there's really some local governments might be, or some international governments might fight against it. And I think
Yeah.
obviously we're going to see governments come up with their own cryptocurrencies without a doubt. I think that's there's no way that that doesn't happen, but I don't think that is ever going to allow them to get rid of the decentralized models.
Okay. So I guess you go like when you're talking about like government currencies like your CBDCs, the central bank digital currencies.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yes. I think that's definitely
so,
going to be happening soon.
okay.
More and more countries are going to, create their own digital currencies. I'm sure you'll see a USD coin that
Yeah.
is run by the actual government rather than
Oh, the Federal
just
Reserve,
created
basically.
by. Yeah, exactly. You're going to see that. You're going to
Yeah.
see a UAE coin, a
Yeah, that talks
Italy
up there.
coin, whatever.
Hmm.
Yeah, see. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
I think you're going to see those come, and they are going to be, you know, centralized models essentially if they're being run by each individual government. But like I said, I don't think that those are going to take away from the decentralized blockchains that were built kind of as the core idea of what blockchain technology should be.
Hmm. Yeah, no, because because personally for me, I see an incredible potential with DeFi, and like you got like your Uniswap, PancakeSwap,
Yeah,
because I know like even seeing like Compound, how how they're doing it, and other I guess protocols. I mean, they are starting to do well, and there's a lot of people are, I guess what's the right word, like staking their cryptos, their
yeah,
capital. Um,
sure.
I don't know, but yeah. Anyway, speaking about DeFi, I'd like to learn more about what's happening in Denver, and like I was thinking like one or two, like the two companies I know is Shapeshift and Salt Lending, but just did a little bit of research. I found out there's like way more companies in Denver.
Sure.
So uh, please share to me and my audience about what's happening in Denver. And I'm just seeing a lot of exciting stuff. So would love some info about that place.
Oh, without a doubt. There's a lot of tech happening out in Denver, whether it's blockchain or outside of blockchain. I know that, yeah, Shapeshift is like one of the monsters of this area, and Shapeshift's been around for so long. Um, I'm I'm fairly certain that Tezos might be out here as well. I
Okay.
know that Zcash is in Denver.
Yeah, yeah.
If you've heard of Zcash.
Zcash, yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
so there's a ton of blockchain projects, a bunch of crypto projects, and a bunch of just I've heard of different exchange projects as well, and I always see them because through my LinkedIn, like they reach out and also they pop up on my feed, and I see them just because we're in the same area. So I think you're going to hear a lot coming out of Denver. One, it's a great place to be. It's centralized in the U.S., so that's huge for a lot of people. Two, if you're doing a lot of server-based things, mining or just running, cloud servers, farms, whatever, it's cold here most of the year, so that's good.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah. Yeah, I've been there. I mean, it's a beautiful place.
yeah,
Except like November, December time. I'm like, I can't handle the snow. I'm
yeah,
a beach
yeah.
boy. So
Definitely, yeah. It can get to be a lot, but actually, these are things that those big companies do consider because, like, it saves money if you're trying to cool a building that has 1,000 computers inside of it.
right.
It helps if it's already 5 degrees outside. But
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I think Denver's tech scene is just starting to pop up, and the Denver Tech Center is growing every single time I drive past it on the highway. It's getting bigger and bigger. And yeah, I mean, you can just look up a list of all the newest stuff. There's even a website called Built in Colorado that shows you all the newest tech startups in Colorado. And I, I don't know what else to really say about it other than it's growing and it's here and it's going to keep on growing.
Yeah, but I'm actually curious about in terms of regulations, like I guess is Denver or the state of Colorado, are they like business friendly or
Okay,
like
sure. So I haven't heard of any, at least exchanges that I've tried to use or types of blockchain projects that I've tried to use that are excluding Colorado. So I would be hard pressed to think that they're giving any sort of pushback to those types of companies. I think they would much rather encourage them to move here
okay,
um, rather than go somewhere else. I know that Wyoming is actually one of the most forward-thinking states in the country, and that's just the next state over. So I don't see Denver being a big regulatory hurdle for these types of
okay.
companies, but at least from what I understand right now, I haven't heard of anything that's like discouraging those types of companies from moving here.
Okay, no, that's interesting to know because the reason I bring up the regulation side or the business stuff is because over here in Dubai, like the ruling family and some of the ministers, they are trying to bring in companies to come to Dubai, set up their businesses over here, like try to even just recently, it's legal to do crypto trading officially, so there's no issues, so between governments and stuff. So that and also they're trying to get what do you say, 100,000 coders to come and stay in Dubai. So only like 100 a day. So giving them like visa privileges and stuff, and make in terms of getting human capital, because one of the other points I want to bring up is, especially in the Middle East, getting talented tech people, like getting talented folks to bring their human capital. That has been sort of a big challenge in the Middle East, also in Dubai too. I mean, even with all the tax regulations and a lot of business opening up, but the talent side is one of the challenges. So so that's what I was curious to know about in Denver. Is the talent like homegrown, or is it from other states coming into Denver?
Sure. I think, Denver does have a lot of homegrown talent from Colorado. We have a lot of great schools out here, DU, CSU, Boulder, that are pushing out a lot of great talent. But also a lot of the talent, moves right over to Silicon Valley or California, a lot of the biggest people as soon as they're done. But I would say there's demand for technical talent in that way, developers, coders, but I think there's plenty around in the US for jobs to get filled, but again, you're
Gotcha.
seeing really high salaries and pays because of the need for those people. I
Yeah.
haven't heard of it being like too extremely hard to find somebody to fill a role around Denver, but
Okay.
that certainly is a thing. And also, those other regulatory hurdles that you had mentioned before, like can actually really affect a company's decision to go to a certain place. Like, for example, New York is really hard for a cryptocurrency to get up and going. I think just their bit
Yeah, that
license
blows my
alone,
mind.
I think their bit license alone is somewhere around the tune of like $500,000 to, and that could fund a whole company, but you need that just to get your licensing, you know?
Yeah, no, because see, like, so someone was born and brought up in Dubai, even some of my friends too. Like, when we look at New York, I mean, like, to us, that's like, the financial capital of the world, like, they would be open to innovation or fintech, brilliance, excellence, however you want to call it. But, just to see the amount of regulations, I mean, that is kind of, like that's kind of scary. I'm just like, wait, what? Like that's going to drive a lot of people, already people leaving New York, and I mean they're coming to Florida, Texas. I mean now
Yeah.
Colorado. So uh, I guess in I'm guessing like Colorado, are they promoting a lot of the business stuff or bringing crypto talent or
I think so. Colorado is usually pretty forward thinking in those spaces. I have not tried to open a crypto startup here in Colorado. The ones that I've, started are actually in other places around the country, but just the pure fact that I haven't actually heard of it being a big issue right now, having lived here for so long, I don't think that they are inhibiting any of those new companies in any way, especially ones who want to come and set up shop here.
okay. No, that's great to
Yeah,
hear. Yeah, I'm just excited to see, what's happening in Denver. Also learn about it in Texas too. It's I
mm,
also study in Texas, so that's why I've been there for 10 years.
nice.
So I do have a soft spot
Yeah,
for the Lone Star State. But
yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
no, but but for me, it's just exciting to hear that, and I'm just doing my part to spread the good news, try to evangelize about cryptos and blockchain. So, and I also love connecting with, people like you and so excited to
Yeah.
learn that, you have done some stuff as well. So, definitely it's refreshing and it's kind of encouraging for me to, you know, to do this, so I really appreciate that. Yeah. Love it.
Without a doubt. Yeah, it's great to talk with people, especially in such a different part of the world, and
Hmm.
see that other people out there are thinking about the same things that we are. And hopefully some people will hear this and be encouraged to take the next step towards whatever they want to do.
Sure, sure. Yeah. Anyways, the last thing I want to ask
Yeah.
is, I was just curious about some of the American crypto blockchain startups. Like, I know they're focusing on the U.S. markets, but uh,
Yeah.
uh, do they look into like the international side, like trying to expand? Uh,
Sure. I
any?
think I think any crypto or blockchain startup is looking to go international. With my specific startups, we've considered deeply, actually just starting them overseas to begin with, just because of how tough the regulatory hurdles are here in the U.S. And
Yeah.
just, that group that I had spoken about before, who I had worked with a couple of years ago on their project, Yellow Card Financial. That
Right.
was, their main idea. They ultimately their main goal was to provide, banking and blockchain services to those who are underserved in Africa. But I think originally they were going to start in the US, but then they kind of realized, well, why would we do that? It's so much easier to start up in Africa due to regulatory issues, funding, and things like that. So they just went over there and did it, and now they've been massively successful and completed their Series A. So that's a dream for any entrepreneur. And
Wow.
if the
Yeah.
U.S. is holding you back, I think every startup is considering going outside of the U.S. for sure. It's something that if you haven't looked at it or considered it, there's maybe you need to kind of reevaluate things because
Sure, sure.
there
Yeah.
are
I'm
there
glad you
are a
brought
lot of
that up.
benefits.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there are a
Yeah.
lot of benefits and also a lot of downfalls of doing it, but yeah, it's really just what's best for your individual company.
Mm. Yeah, true, true, agreed. Yeah, but anyways, I think our time is about to end. But
Sure.
I want to leave the last few minutes for you. Just just
Okay, cool.
how people can connect with you, and yeah, yeah,
Sure.
please do. Yeah,
I guess I'll start off just to thank Kickcaster for making this happen with us. So if anybody's looking to get on podcasts or get guests for their podcast, you could check out Kickcaster. That's how this recording ended up happening. So check
yep.
us out, kickcaster.com. You can check out the podcast guest list on the website and yeah, see that. The companies that I am working with right now on blockchain technology, which I mentioned before, is Secure Digital Asset Group, and that'll be at sdagcrypto.com. You'll be able to find some more information there.
Sure.
And yeah, they can also, if they want to email me or reach out on LinkedIn, it's just Tom Donohue. On LinkedIn, I believe the URL is LinkedIn/the Tom Don. I think that's the one that they were able to get for me. So anybody can feel free to send me a message if they have any
Awesome.
questions,
Okay.
or send a connection, and I'll be happy to give them some more information.
Yeah, no, sure. No, definitely. Definitely I'll share the links in the podcast as well as on the YouTube channel as well. So it'll be easier to find. But anyways, Tom, first of all, thank you for connecting with me. Love it. I love the Kickcaster service and what you guys are doing. And
yeah,
absolutely. And also on top of it, your blockchain business as well. And excited.
Thank you.
I know this is just the beginning. The best is yet to come, for sure.
Sure.
So,
yeah.
Thank you for your time, and definitely, I'm sure definitely I'll be looking forward to seeing some exciting developments from your side. So
definitely we'll stay in touch. And thank you again, Marcus, for having me on.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Anyways, I'll catch you all later. Y'all be good. Y'all be safe. Thank you for entering the Cryptocosm. Bye for now.
Yes. Cool.